Sophia was in the triangle of death. Rounds started picking up and they were hitting around. And I was like, I don't have my body armor. I'm here working out. So I go sit in the corner and pick up a 45-pound plate and I squat down. And then these Iraqi dudes start trying to huddle in beside me. It's like, this is
welcome back to the 22nd episode of 11 Bang Gang. So today, special guest. I've been looking forward to this guy coming on for a little bit. Paul is here to talk to us. Paul Miller, he did a couple tours in Iraq, did some other things in the Army. He's got a great after story, and I'm excited to have him on the show. Paul, tell everybody hey, and we get it rocking.
Hey, I'm Paul Miller, and I'm very glad to be here, and I appreciate you having me on.
The pilot that got rescued, you heard about that? Are you tracking any of that?
I don't plug into the news at all. I maybe get tiny snippets, but other than that.
So they say that they rescued the pilot because they come out in a press conference, and if I read this wrong, listeners, I'm sorry, but the way I read it last night, and I don't know if I did some drugs, but it said that they use some kind of quantum technology to be able to detect the pilot's heartbeat from miles away. Yeah.
That was on our side or the opposing force?
No, we did that. We got the pilot. We rescued him, since you don't follow the news. So the story was that we rescued him. It was a huge firefight, and it all put all that aside because that's not the point. The point is that we got him, and then after the fact, they come out and say that we used this wild technology that no one's ever heard of, has some kind of basis in real science, but even the scientists on X the other night were like, this is completely far-fetched, and if it is some straight Area 51 kind of wild stuff. So they're saying they detected the pilot's heartbeat from miles away using some kind of quantum technology.
Well, conflict is a perfect time for them to test new tech.
Yeah. Now, look, I wholeheartedly agree with the war as a racket, and I get that. And you know, even like Ukraine is a perfect time for America to sit back and go, what does first world warfare today somewhat look like? You know, and I agree. But if that's true, that is wild technology. I mean, that's unreal.
Well, that means that they have a lot more that we don't know about. If they're totally slowly cracking out like quantum tech, then it's like, what else are we going to see?
Dude, I mean, that's where I'm at the point where I'm just like, and I've always known this, you know, where it's whatever we know about is 10 years behind what's really, you know, on the cutting edge. But dude, yeah, that's crazy. So anyways, okay, so you were in the Army, but we're gonna start with where you grew up. So where'd you grow up at? And how was your young childhood?
Hey. So this is a great point in my life to ask this, because 10 years ago I would have been sore on this subject, but now I can easily discuss it. I was raised in Birmingham, Alabama. That's where I was born, and lived all over Birmingham, a bunch of different cities, and I was homeschooled. So it was like basically just shut off from the world, except for like 2 years I went to a private school, and that was pretty cool. But they just passed me along. Like, I wasn't a good student. I didn't care about any of the learning. And the version of homeschool I got was really not good. It was just, my childhood was really rough. Just to be honest, it was a lot of trauma. And the first time I was 11, and I had a rope around my neck and I was about to jump out of a tree. And
Wow.
so the military, the Army National Guard, like, had a friend that joined. He was another homeschooler. And so I only ever wanted to escape. And I saw that as my, like, escape, because I knew they'd feed me. I'd get a gun, and like I would
Yeah.
have clothes. I'd get to wear camo. Like, that's freaking cool. And so I remember when I made the decision, I was like 16, and I told my
Mhm.
mom, I was like, because I wanted to escape her, in all honesty, just escape her. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to join the military. That's what I decided to do. And I was firm in that decision. And she immediately was like, if you join, you're not going to have a home to come back to, and just laid into me. And she and my older brother just gave me grief until I left. And they were telling me I was going to be a washout, and that the recruiter was lying and all this stuff. I even had to lie to her to get my birth certificate and social security card to enlist. And so
Wow.
I blasted my ASVAB out of the water, though. Like, I had a headache. I didn't try very hard. But years later, I went to reclass to 68 whiskey. And the AGR dude was like laughing at me. I was a grunt. He's like, well, you have to have an ASVAB score, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, cool. So I go get them. And it turns out I could do any job I wanted to. So I was like, this grunt can do that. So I didn't say that. But
That's funny.
so yeah, like, that's like, without getting into the childhood trauma stuff, like, it was miserable. It was miserable.
Well, how old are you?
I'm 43.
Okay, so you're 43. I try to, when I talk to guys, I try to get a timeline. And my guests will have heard me say this before. It's because it's like when like when you're listening to a story, you're like, okay, what year? So what year did you graduate high school?
Oh, I dropped out of high school. Like,
Okay.
I had like 2 weeks left. It was homeschool, high school. And I didn't care. I was done. I was like, done. I'm not doing it anymore.
God. Now, I'm not going to get too deep into it, but like, was it like, cause I'm from Georgia, so like I kind of the South and I kind of feel like I have a lead. Was your family like very religious too, or no?
Yes.
Okay.
In church, in the disciplines of religion, that's where they took it seriously. Like dressing right, having a smile, showing up Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night.
Okay.
It was a facade, though. But yes, they were wholeheartedly like, and especially my mother was just all about it. And I was like,
okay. Because I feel like I was like recognizing, I'm like, okay, I think I've seen this before. So yeah. Okay. So you're trying to get out of there as fast. So what year do you go to boot camp in the Army? What year was that?
I got an ignorant question though. 9/11 was 2001, correct? Or
That's
2000?
Right.
2001?
No, 2001.
Okay. So I enlisted in like, I think August of 2001, like 2 weeks before 9/11. And
okay, see, that's what I was trying to figure out. Okay.
Yeah. And so, you know why I love it though? It's because I enlisted for pure reasons. Like, I just wanted to do that and get away. But I was working at Home Depot at the time. No, Office Depot at the time. I was in the interim, I was living with my dad for a period. And I went in to go pick up my check. And my boss was like, you still glad you joined the military? And I was like, what? And I looked up at the TV screen. And this was back when they had box TVs, And and I saw it, like, plane hit the tower. And I was a kid. I didn't understand the gravity of that. And and I was just like, yeah. Because like my thing was like, being a soldier means you're getting ready for war. And so I saw that and it's like, yeah, I'm still glad I joined. Like, I didn't have a bit of hesitation. And it's like, and then the war kicked off. Both of them.
That had to have been crazy. So, okay, so I ask everybody this. I don't know how much you knew about the military, but you you go to you enlist, you go to boot camp. How is it compared to what you thought it was going to be? When you actually got there.
Well, so I'd seen these Davy Crockett movies when I was a kid, and he would go to these forts, in the wilderness, and they were built with these logs, and they had the big doors that opened. And in Fort Benning, I saw that in my mind. I was like, a fort? That must be a fort.
Wow.
And so, but then somehow I just, like, once I pulled up, I let go of all expectations once I saw what I got to. And I was like, this is not a fort.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. So how was it harder than you thought it was going to be? Easier, boot camp?
I think it was unexpected because like we ended up being at 30th AG for, almost 2 months, because while we were there was this huge influx of recruits because like 9/11 like got a lot of people to join. And so
that's right.
like we'd be up at night in our little barracks, and there would be busloads after busloads, like night after night, of recruits coming in. And but so like it was overloaded, and I didn't know what to expect at all, because this was my first experience of being in the world.
That's right.
Because I'd never went and hardly did anything. Like maybe once or twice a year I could go bowling or skating. But other than that, it was locked down Chinatown with this kid, because when a parent abuses a child in certain ways, they must keep that secret by keeping the child separate from the world. And so I don't remember a lot of my childhood. It's a lot of blacked out. So I get here and it's a whole new world. I didn't know what to expect. It was definitely like, I knew they cared, because these dudes with the attitude would get so mad at the drill sergeants, because the drill sergeants are like trying to pick at you. It's like, I'm going to find their weak link, basically.
Yeah.
And these guys would be mad, and I'd tell them, I'd be like, dude, these guys really care. And they're like, how do you know? It's like, because I lived with somebody that didn't care, and I see it in these guys. They want to make us into soldiers, and they do care about us. And they're just trying to like, just toughen us up, basically. And I was overweight. And so in the mornings at Benning, like I would have to do double PT, what everybody did, while everybody's going back. I'm still on the PT field running.
Yeah.
And I lost so much weight, but Drill Sergeant Corvez would be right there beside me, telling me what to get to eat, and barely let me eat anything. And like, I dropped weight fast.
I bet you did.
So we get to, we started out with Alpha Company. No, Bravo 247. That was actually from Forrest Gump, which they were pretty proud of, the drill sergeants. And when he gets to Vietnam, he shows up to Bravo 247. So we're in basic for 2 months almost. And we go through those initial phases, where you don't look at anything, you freaking lock up, and anything you do, they freak out on you. And we go home for Christmas Exodus. That was pretty cool. And I kept running, and my drill sergeant would call me, checking on me. And I was like scared crapless. I was like, he's calling me. I was like, yes, drill sergeant, I'm running. And I would get out and run on my own.
Wow.
So we get back, and they're like, oh, y'all are headed down the street to Alpha Company 1st and the 50th. And I was like, what? Like, but at this point in my life, I just accepted whatever. I was like, okay. Yeah. But they're like, oh, we just had to put y'all somewhere. And to back up a little bit, while we were at Bravo 247, sometimes you'd be on KP, in the back, and like other companies that were further along in basic, they would show up and pick up, the mermites to take it out to the field. And they would laugh at us. These guys would be laughing at us, be like, y'all are pogues, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, no, we're 11 Bravo. And they're like, no, you're not. Y'all are Pogues. And we didn't know what they meant. We were just like, whatever. I know I signed up for 11 Bravo. So we get back
Right.
from Christmas Exodus, and they're like, oh, y'all are going to Alpha Company first and the 50th. We just had to put y'all somewhere because 30th AG was overrun, and we put y'all here. So y'all got to start over from day one
Oh
with new drill
shit.
sergeants. so,
Oh,
so we totally started over completely, like in red phase. Everything locked down, Chinatown, new drill sergeants. We're just getting used to
man.
those dudes.
Dude, that would have sucked dick. Oh my God, dude. I couldn't imagine having gone like a month and a half. So, yeah, because Marine Corps boot camp's 13 weeks. I could not imagine doing like 7 weeks and then turning around and being like, you're going back to phase one where you're wearing go fasters again. Hell no.
It
Holy shit, dude.
it was a big demotivator. Like it just kind of take the wind out of your
Yeah.
sails. And you're just like, oh,
You,
okay.
That's well. First of all, I've been trying to repeat this to myself so I didn't forget the whole time. It's crazy that you recognized that the drill sergeant, you recognized the goal immediately. You went in there, you were like, this is a psychological game to make us better. But deep down, as much as they call us pieces of shit, they actually do love us, and it's the same way. Like, even in the fleet, remember, like, you would get, I say fleet, in the army, the big army, you get out to the units. Your unit, you get the new guys when you become like a sergeant or a corporal. You hate the new guys, but then you love them, and you do a deployment with them, and then they become part of the unit. You know what I'm saying? Like that cycle. But you always hate the new guy, but you knew right away that you were like, this is how they got to treat us, because this is how they make the sauce. You know what I mean? Like, that's wild that you recognize that, man. That's tight. I like that.
Well, I broke that down in my mind. Like as I got older, I was like, why did I recognize that? It's like because I
Yeah.
had an example of adult who really didn't like me and treated me with
Yeah.
like
Disdain.
loathing. Yeah, disdain. That's the
Yeah.
perfect word. And I get
Yeah.
there, and this dude is fake mad. Like they put on their
Yeah.
fake mad, and I noticed that immediately. They would call me up for something, and I'd be smirking, laughing, and they'd get so fake mad. But they're like, "Oh, Miller's laughing," because it's like I'm laughing at your fake mad because I can see through it. And it's like I'm an empath. I don't feel the anger from you, like
Right.
truly. And
That's tight, dude. That's
yeah.
cool. That's cool. Yeah. All right. So you leave there, you get to you go to the big army next, or you go to AIT. Is AIT a thing back then?
Well, just for a little clarity, like I was Army National Guard. So once I
Oh,
graduate,
that's
I
right.
go back to guard. I start guard status.
Okay.
But then the war kicked off, so I wrote orders for years, which was cool.
Okay.
But we were OSA 11 Bravo, one station unit training. I think it's like we rolled right out of basic into 11 Bravo training, and we didn't even leave that company, like, or the training
Okay.
battalion. We stayed right there.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah, man, dude, the Army and the National Guard are so confusing sometimes to Marines, too. We're like, bro, you graduate boot camp, you go to the school, you then you go to a unit, you either deploy or you don't, It's like simple. I guess they keep it dumb for us low IQ guys.
No.
All right, so you so when do you first well how when you get to that training battalion, how's that environment to you? You're doing training, you're living with the boys. How's that environment feel to you?
It was like it. I was like, if there was something close to prison, this is what it'd be like, because like everything is controlled, like how you tie your boots, how you
Yeah.
fold your clothes, where you can stand, how you can stand, how you can talk, when you go to sleep, when you wake up. Everything is
Yeah.
formatted, and like, and you just try to find the guys that are cool, and then
Yeah.
the guys that are buttholes, and then there's guys that change. I thought it was cool. Like there was guys that started out really buttholes, and they morphed like into my good friend, and they're a-hole and it's left them. And I was like, what the?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I will be honest, like my very last PT run, I cheated on it. I cheated on my very
Nice.
last one. But Drill
Nice.
Sergeant Menifee told me, he's like, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. So I was like,
Mm.
but so I just want that's always bugged me my whole life. It's like, was I really a soldier since I cheated my last run on the PT test? And it's like, but I did go to war and I did get in combat. So I don't know.
Look, man, I think when you get back, it was funny to watch even the like most like patriotic, and I don't know what the word like we used in the Marines was, like motardish dude who followed all the rules get to the end of his like active service time, and a lot of them would start cutting the wildest corners. I mean, it was wild to watch, you know, and it's just like they just got to the end and they were like, yeah, we don't care anymore, bro. Like it's over. So yeah. So when do y'all spin up for your first deployment?
So get back, start going to drill, or I go to drill, and they're like, "Oh, your unit was deployed," and I was like, "Really?" And so they're deployed stateside. It was Operation Noble Eagle. So Alabama has like several bases. There's like a helicopter base. There's like an old shutdown army base, and there's Redstone Arsenal in Anniston by like all the rocket ships for space and stuff. And they spread out our companies. We're in the battalion, the 167, at different places in Alabama to pull security because the heightened threat assessment right after 9/11, and it's like, so we were all deployed doing security basically for posts, and that was like 6 to 8 months, and it was I was a private, you know, it's like it was. I had no idea what was going on. I just did what they told me to do, and if they didn't tell me what to do, I did my own thing until I got caught. So I was like, that's the way I'm going to do it. And not trying to be arrogant or anything. No, not arrogant. I didn't know any better. So it's like, I didn't know I was supposed to do busy work, you know, like that's like, I'll do it. I just kind of thought outside the box. I think that's because like the way I was raised, like very feral. And so it's like, if I have no instructions, I will find something to do. And
that's funny.
But during that time,
that's like we used.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Oh no, you're good. Yeah, no, that's like we used to do that. Like if no one had you doing something, we used to hide. Like when I was like a young PFC private, yeah, like we used to hide, and like you would shut your blinds. You didn't answer your door unless like your squad leader called you. Yeah, like that was the time though, man. Like you like yeah, and everything was controlled. So real quick though, if you're in the guard and you're going to drill, what were you doing when you were not like during this, you talked about this 6 to 8 month period that you were doing security, but like when you were in the guard, what were you doing? Well, like I'm guessing you were working like a normal job.
I was a barista for a while. I was working at Starbucks. So it's like,
heck yeah.
The guard, I think, and from what I've seen in the media over the last 20 years, there's so much focus on like the active duty side, and now it's like Delta, CAG, Special Forces. If you were an elite, you're going to get a podcast and get interviewed and hear all about that. But it's like people that suffered so much were in the guard because you have to leave your life. Whatever you're starting gets put on hold when you deploy. Then you come back and you're like, let me try starting this again. Nope, done again. And so it's like stop, go. And like you have acquaintances now, but not really close friends stateside, you know, back home.
Right.
And so it's a dynamic that I know never was prepared for, but I was totally cool with it because I didn't care not working. Like going to war was cooler than being a barista, honestly.
Right. Yeah, but that you still got to make money. Like, you know what I'm saying? You still got to live because the guard isn't paying you a living wage at all. Like, not at all. So, yeah, man, that sucks. Yeah, I ain't really ever thought about that. You know, like you said, I mean, that's a good point. You know, there's a lot of active duty stuff. That's why I don't do special forces on here. So for any of you listening that's he messaged me that have asked. That's the public reason I started this podcast, to interview guys like Paul, normal people who worked at like Walmart and shit, but like fought in Fallujah. Like there's wild stories out there. All right, so you do the security thing. How long does that? What year did they end that thing? And then y'all go back to just doing normal stuff.
That was 2002. So I graduated in like early spring from Benning in 2002. And then within like a month or so, I got put on Title 10 orders. And that was until about October, November of 2002. And then so we went back to drill status, and like we were at December drill, I want to say, or January drill, and they brought us all in a classroom, and they're like, all right, the war in Iraq is kicking off, and they're asking for volunteers. And like I threw my hand up, and so there was 9 of us that got selected from the battalion, or picked, to go get plugged in with the 4th ID to deploy with them, to roll into Iraq, like right behind 3rd ID. So it was really cool. It's like I was a private in the Alabama National Guard, and then I was attached to Division Main of 4th Infantry Division. And so the experience I got of the war was 1 in a million, like 1 in a million. Like my grunt experience was not a grunt experience at all. It was just very freaking cool.
Yeah. So how old are you when you do the initial invasion with 4th ID?
I think I was 19 or 20. I just turned 20. In January 2003.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I was 19 on my first deployment, but it was a booze cruise. The only cool thing we did was go to Yemen and support special ops there. But that was cool. But, like we wouldn't do an initial invasions when I was 19. That had to have been a wild whirlwind of like spinning up, getting over there, that. What was your first impressions of the Middle East? Like, you get there, you're from Alabama, you ain't never seen nothing. This had to have been just a wild first experience. But I know that the hustle was probably hustle. So, it's hard to enjoy the moment.
I remember we flew out of Colorado, and it was snowing that morning. It was pretty cold. Like 16 or 20 hours later, because we had to fly like different routes because some airspaces were shut off at that point in time. And like we weren't allowed to get off the airplane while refueling. So like you sat there for freaking ever. But when we land, like it hit home, the dude gets on the comms and he's like, no saluting and no formations. Welcome to the war. And he hung it up. And I was just kind of like, and everybody was silent. It was just like this sobering statement. You're just like, oh. So, yeah, it's like, it just got real. Man. But we end up waiting Kuwait at like a staging area in the desert. Like it's literally just a huge desert. I'd experienced that now. And there's concertina wire in this huge circle thing. And there's all these huge tents and like a little micro PX and a big old chow hall and bathrooms and stuff. And like, there's like little, like those pallets that water come on, the wooden pallets. There'd be like one of those setting out with concertina wire around it. And that's like the guard post, it's like so like just set up. And we spent about 3 weeks in those tents just waiting to ride north.
Just waiting, man. And that's the thing. It's like dudes from Iraq and that have been to Kuwait. I've been to Kuwait. Don't like that. They understand is that like the desert is like flat there. You know what I'm saying? Like there are some places in Iraq that have elevation, but like between like Iraq and Kuwait, that desert is flat, like nothing. And like, the dudes from Afghanistan will understand that haven't been to those places. Well, they won't understand, but that if you haven't seen it, it's like Afghanistan had terrain features. There were some flat parts, but like you could look and find something in the distance. But like, man, yeah, Kuwait, dude. So y'all were just like middle of the desert, generators, some shit. That's awesome. Yes. Okay. So when y'all actually drive up into Iraq behind, you said you were behind third or second ID?
Well, we were maybe, I would guess like a month or two behind third ID because they went in and did the fighting. And I think, and because I was attached to Division Main, like I wasn't in the fighting. I was like, in like movement with the division headquarters. And so literally like Pogue City, like straight up, our convoy finally left out to head north. And it was maybe 100 to 300 vehicles, just a buttload of vehicles.
Wow.
There was no medics assigned to us. Like we had no mechanics assigned to us. And like we got like barely any bullets headed north. And on a quick note on that, my second tour, I ordered, before I went and deployed, I ordered these like Bolivian packs of 223 ammo that were like in a green plastic bag that was really tough. And I snuck those to war with me, like a bunch of ammo, because I knew when you leave some areas, you don't get ammo. So I was handing that out to my buddies, and we actually had more ammo than they issued us. Like, you should get a full loadout as a grunt, but we didn't. So I was like, that's why I fucking brought ammo to war. And and so guys were like, give me some, because it's like, that's what you freaking want when you're going to Yusufia. Like, you want freaking ammo. So anyway, we're in this convoy, like 100 to 300 vehicles. It's somewhere in the middle there. And we're having vehicles break down, like trailers get twisted and thrown over, because it's like, no offense to anybody, but like Pogues don't, from what I experienced, don't really self-recover. And they don't really like get in there and they're like, let's fix this. We got a mission. We're going to get this crap going and we're going to keep going. It's like something happens, they all stand around. They're like, oh, what do we do? And I only say this from experience. I've seen it. So it took days and days of driving north. Like, we would sleep on the side of the road, like in our vehicles. We just park. And then there was these huge like fuel dumps almost, where these fuelers were set up. And then for hours we would drive through like this dust pool to fuel up to keep going on the convoy.
Oh yeah.
And it took it took days to get to Baghdad International Airport. And we pull in like, so we finally get to Baghdad International Airport, but our Humvee was breaking down and barely working. And we got separated from the entire convoy. And it was one Humvee by ourselves driving through downtown like somewhere in Baghdad near the airport. In like traffic hour when there's tons of traffic. And so I'm sitting there freaking out. I'm a kid, and it's like an E6 behind me and a captain beside me. And that's it. And we're totally separated. Like, we had no comms with the convoy. Like, literally, like, this was like active duty. Honestly, they F stuff up. And so we're going along 5 miles an hour. And I'm like, if I die, this is going to be the day. But I was like, I'm not going to try to show them that I feel that way. So I had my pistol. We had a soft shell Humvee. It was just like canvas doors.
Right.
So I had my pistol against the door, but where nobody could see it, so I could start shooting, because I was like, this is perfect ambush time. And my captain was like, not my captain, like he was, but he was a captain, let's say that. And I worked with him the whole time. And so he's like, get the camera out and film this. And I just was like,
oh my
I refused that order. I was like, we're right here in the middle of like rush hour, separated from our convoy, 3 dudes in one Humvee that can only go 5 miles an hour, and you want me to film in a war zone?
What was their jobs like? So I know you, like, I feel you on getting assigned to, like, so even though it was an infantry company, I got put in the headquarters platoon. for a time, so I know what that's like. But like obviously this is regimental, so these are like super duper pogues. So like, what were these dudes' jobs? Because I can only imagine that if the captain's like, let's film, he obviously doesn't have the training. You know what I mean, of the situational awareness to know he's in the shit, bro. Like, hey, okay, nobody may be shooting at you, but you are situationally in the shit right now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Um, he was an infantry officer,
Wow.
but like his heart wasn't infantry. And so,
Yeah.
but he was working in the capacity of an LNO, or like a
Mm,
liaison between like 3rd Brigade Combat Team and headquarters, which
yeah.
I have like there's a whole nother rabbit trail, but like, um, I never understood why they would bring in 9 National Guardsmen to active duty to work as a liaison inside active duty. Like there were some things that didn't make sense. Um, but I was just an E4, like I didn't ask questions. But
Yeah.
I didn't have a job, literally, because they didn't put me up there like at the division headquarters to be running liaison stuff back and forth with messages. And so,
Right.
um, for a while, it's like I didn't really have a job. Like I just lived in these little slave quarters, and I lived at the Saddam's Tikrit compound, and there was a palace structure there, and I lived in like these old slave quarters, which were like marble floors and super nice. Not really slave quarters, but
Wow.
workers' quarters. Um, and after a couple of weeks, this dude, Colonel Jackson, shows up. He worked for civil affairs, but he worked, I want to say he worked with special operations because there was Task Force 20 that was on the lake at that compound. And so being there, like they ran a lot of missions, but like this colonel, all he had was like a super souped up satellite radio, and he did whatever he wanted. And so we started working with him in the capacity of being like his security detail. So literally,
Okay.
there was some
Yeah.
guardsmen there, us, who didn't have a job because just the officers in our team were working at Division Main. And so this colonel grabbed us and he had ultimate freedom. Like we checked in with nobody, only Colonel Jackson.
Wow.
Like we never had anybody to answer to. Like we'd be laying around and be like, y'all want to go? And we're like, yep, we're bored. And so for months on end, it was just adventures with Colonel Jackson. And like we did some crazy stuff. That's why like my experience with the war was so different, because he started hunting people that were attacking us, insurgents, like people they would bring in,
Right.
or people that were like, let me invite this invading country, which makes perfect sense. And so,
No, go ahead.
okay. So, so he basically would go out hunting and finding people that were stealing munitions. We were going to like Iraqi army bases and catching people that were looting the ammo dumps. And he made friends with this local sheikh's son, and the dude was like helping us. Like he helped us find people like crazy. We arrested people, or arrested. Um, we would catch people doing stuff, and we would take weapons and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, so like there was these cool events where like one day we were going out to this this Iraqi army base that was just abandoned, of course. And we're driving up, and we go up to this building that was a munitions building. And that's why Colonel Jackson was there, and we were checking it out. And we're like we pull up to the front of this thing. It's like 3-story, and all of a sudden we hear an explosion on the inside. And then it kept blowing up, and like the roof blows off, and like debris starts going, and Sergeant Brown's driving, and he floors it, and I grab onto the back, and this, like, I was a kid, and this building's literally blowing up beside us, and so we just floored out of there, and it was so fast I wasn't scared. but it was like
Yeah.
terrifying. You know what I mean? Like at the same
Right.
time. And so
Yeah.
we get away like a couple miles away and we're watching this thing just blow up and blow up for like 30 minutes. And it's like we're sitting
hmm
right beside that. And like Colonel Jackson, he got us into some hairy situations, but it was very cool because we didn't have like the rules, you know, we didn't have any
Right.
guidelines. It was just like, go find this stuff, go do this stuff, you know. It was cool.
That's what we used to call OFP, on your own program. But yet, that's funny. You mentioned that building blowing up, like how it's sometimes I remember like some people will ask like sometimes like, oh, you were you scared like when you were at war, and that reminds me of like there are certain circumstances where things happen so fast, but you're in and out of the situation so fast that you don't realize until after it's already happened. You might have got the jump scare, but you know what I'm saying? Then like it's like, oh wow, that could have killed me. Or like that was wild. Like that really just happened, you know? But
Yeah.
you're safe now, but you're just like, that was so fat. Like, whew, there's obviously sustained times of terror, like a full blown firefight, things like that. But yeah, okay. So real quick, all right, so I know that deployment wasn't as crazy as I mean, you got into some hairy situations. Did y'all stay at the airport? Like, did you spend the whole time at Baghdad International?
No, we were there for about a week, and then we pushed on
Okay.
to Crit,
Okay.
Saddam's hometown, and lived at that palace for the rest of the tour. And we stayed there.
Okay.
And
Okay.
eventually, the gentleman that was working as our interpreter, the Sheikh's son, he got ambushed, and we
Oh
were
wow.
searching for Fedayeen or the Fedayeen. It was like Saddam's henchmen or whatever, and I could be a little mistaken on the
Right.
names, but they ambushed him one day. Like he left out, and he would come every day to our compound, talk to us, bring us intel. And he left one day, and we got the call, and we went out and we saw him, and it's like, and I was 20, and so that's the first time I saw somebody that I knew that was, their soul was
Yeah.
disconnected, and I was like, oh, and I felt so
Wow.
numb. I thought I was like, oh man,
Yeah.
tough. And another dude, he teared up and he was upset, and like I thought I was so tough and manly, and then I realized like my heart was shut off. Like my heart was not in Feelsville at all.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, though. It's the desensitization works, and it's honestly, it has to work, right? Like clinically, if you look at war as like a clinical thing, we have to be like that. You just have to. You cannot afford. And we had people too that and I'm sure everyone can say that at least a deployment they got close to a local at some point or was buddies with one. You work with the Afghan National Army, the Iraqi police, and you develop relationships with these people. And so sometimes when that happens, man, that's a terrible thing. And like you said, and then sometimes like on deployments, we just realize that, or at the time we don't realize then, but in the moment we're just like, man, it is what it is. This is war. And yeah, that's tough, man. That's tough for a 19, 20-year-old. That's, dude, your brain's not even fully developed till you're 24. And I didn't
Yeah.
find that out till I was 32.
And yeah, we had
Ah,
spent weeks with him. Like we would spend all day with him, just day after
yeah,
day. And he died because he helped us. And so that rested
right.
heavy on my heart. And like my hope, honestly, one day is that I'm going to be able to travel back there when I have the money. I'm going to travel back there. I'm going to find his family and apologize to them because, and this
Mm,
gives me tears because um, he sacrificed himself. And it's like, for
right.
what? Because later I researched the war after I was medically discharged, and we shouldn't have been there. And so this man,
No.
this family lost their dad. This dude lost his son helping us. And I'm like, man,
Right.
And Colonel Jackson, he went native. Like his loyalty shifted because he started seeing the war in a different light because he was spending time with them and we were. And one day he just
Right.
disappeared. They got rid of him quick and they brought in another dude.
Man.
But there's one more story that I want to share, which is super cool. Like this was a
Go ahead.
highlight there. So I'd done some errand or something for this major, and he gave me a cigar, and I thought that was cool. It's like I've never had a cigar. Turned out I didn't like cigars. So I was at these dudes' barracks hanging out. They were tankers, but they were running gun trucks, and they were pretty cool. And Brad comes in one day, and he was crying, and we're like, Brad, what happened? And we had all known like an RPG had taken out a Black Hawk with some command members on it that were flying in that day. And it was shot down right behind the palace complex. And Brad comes in crying. And this story starts out sad. And it killed my heart. But they made him take pictures and film the Black Hawk burning. They made him document it. And just remembering him, he was tore up that night because it was burning with nobody survived it. And he knew while he was taking those pictures what was going on. And it just, he was broken like for that night. Like he was hurt. But you know how you sit in that and then you just move on, you know, you compartmentalize it. And that struck me on that. And then so they were like, we're going to freaking bomb that city back there. We're going to bomb that area where the RPG came from because we're going to retaliate. And so within 24 hours, they had planned like a 2,000-pound bomb. And they called it over the radio. Everybody knew, like, it was a big deal. They're like, hey, they're dropping a bomb tonight. So everybody, this is what's going on. So they told us what time it was going to be. So everybody tried to get good positions. You know, on 4th of July, when you try to get a good seat, and it's like, to see the fireworks, that's what everybody was doing this night. And so I climbed on top of a building and I was sitting on the edge of it, smoking this cigar, thinking I was cool or something. So these two, I guess, F-16s come in, and have you ever heard them kick in their afterburners? It sounds like Armageddon started. It's just like, first time I heard it, I looked at Thomas, I was like, we're going to die, bro. And then I realized it was like afterburners. I was like, oh, dang.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of cloud cover, and these two F-16s come in and they just fly across the skyline, like right above us. And they go across, and somebody gets on the radio. They said, it's too cloudy. They're probably going to call it off. And so everybody's disappointed because we want a little revenge and we want to see a freaking 2,000-pound bomb drop. Like, that's a big deal. So then they just take off to the horizon, and we're like, man, they called it off. Then you hear the afterburners kick in, and these mother effers come like just full on, just flying in. And they head to the center of this. I'm getting goosebumps, remember, because these, like, whatever turbo boost, after boost, everything was engaged. You know, it's like this blue flame, two of them flying in. And nobody was expecting it because they thought they'd called the bomb run off. And they fly to the middle of this cloud cover, and they start pulling circles. Like, they come in and bank hard, and they start doing circles, and one's following the other. And they're going fast, like pulling these. It's like, that's dangerous. And it starts looking like an onion, like onion rings kind of. And in about 3 or 4 minutes, they burned off the whole cloud cover. It was gone. I got goosebumps right now because we were all just like,
that's
what
insane.
the F just happened? Like, they literally burnt out the clouds. And
I didn't know they could do that.
Me neither. I might get a call tomorrow like, you have revealed secret information. And I realized it's like, airplanes have tactics that are secret too. They train on. So they clear it out and they take off to the horizon, and then they come in for their bomb run. And everybody's like, yeah. And they come in and they drop the sucker. And of course we couldn't see it, but you're like literally sitting there waiting and you don't know what's going to happen. And we see a flash, like this big, massive, silent flash. And And then my instincts kicked in because I'd been around some explosions by now. They had demoed like a 3-story building beside the palace that they were shooting mortar rounds from us. So I started getting used to the concussion, it's like, and I realized it's like, I'm sitting on the edge of the building and like a split second, I grab the edge of the building and I get hit with this shockwave and I'm like, get knocked back a little bit. It wasn't too much, but it was tremendous. I was like the timing between the flash and the shockwave, like it was a massive bomb. I was like, what the? And I got front row seats to like a once in a lifetime event, and they paid me for it. Yeah.
Yeah. I bet there were so many America going on during that. Like, because the shockwave, it's going to come. And that was the coolest thing about dropping artillery or calling in airstrikes, or even just, man, heck, dude, our EOD detonated so many IEDs. They were going to do controlled deaths. Those were cool because the timing between. And then we had a dude who he was in a gun truck. I was Vic 1 and EOD detonated an IED. And when they did, the guy in the turret was like, "You think I'll be all right?" And we were like, he was like, "Duck." When it goes off, so on the countdown over the radio, he ducks. Well, then he stands back up, and we were all like, "Yeah, that's cool, bro." And then all of a sudden, he starts getting pelted in the head because all the gravel was coming back down through the turret, and we didn't think about it, but it was so funny because, like you said, you don't know, man. Like in those are the coolest things, man. And that's such a good time because it's funny how emotions shift during deployments. You go from being super scared to so much fun to being bored out of your mind to being completely in terror of this situation because you're going to die for 30 seconds, and then terror because of, it's just, it's a roller coaster, dude. I mean, our cortisol levels are so jacked,
It took me 15, 20 years to get out of fight or flight, literally, especially after my second tour. Yeah, dude, like it's all over the map and you're a kid. And it's like, this is all unnatural for a human to experience. You're experiencing these extremes that has like this memory full of emotion and heavy coding that gets put away, and your brain's like, where do I put this? Like, how do I even file this? It's like, don't worry, we'll bring this up later when you don't expect it.
That's pretty good right there. Yeah, we're gonna bring this up when you're in an argument with your wife about something 15 years later, and we're gonna punch it, dude. Yeah, man, that's funny. Okay, so we still got some stuff to cover, so I want to make sure we got time. So, okay, you get back from this one. I'm gonna leave the how you felt when you got back. How much time expires between you getting back from this one and then going on the 2004 one to Fallujah, or maybe not quite Fallujah, but in the area?
So, like technically, we get back from that first tour like early 2004, real early 2004, maybe March, April, I'm guessing.
Okay.
So I was home maybe 9 months because it was like close to October, December again when I volunteered for the next one. And so
so you volunteered, because I'm like, 9 months is not a lot of time, dude.
Yeah, well, I was just volunteering because I was like, I did a lot of cool stuff. Like I left out several cool stories also. But as an infantryman, I didn't earn my CIB because nobody at division level was allowed to get a CIB, and we weren't in combat. Honestly, like it wasn't like combat. We had these little instances here and there. And so for me not having a CIB coming back, like that killed me. And so, and I'm going to be honest here. I was young, dumb, and and I felt I deserved a CIB. And our captain was always talking about he was trying to get us our orders for it. And this is to the disgrace, my disgrace. Like I had sewn it on before I'd actually earned it before my second tour. And so if I was an NCO, could go back in time, I would square the crap out of myself away because, and I want to admit that because like I should not have done that. That was wrong. But I did on my second tour earn my CIB officially. And so I kind of redeemed myself there. But I just want to be honest on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, dude, I mean, like that is, I feel that because not the doing. I didn't do shit on my first deployment. It was booze cruise, but like I feel what you mean by when you say that like you have to earn it. Like you like, because I've talked to guys who like, so my first deployment was a boat ride. Well, the deployment before that was a boat ride to Japan. So like my seniors, if they did one enlistment, that was their 2 deployments, boat rides back to back during GWAT, you know, and that is a killer to be an infantry guy. We're 0311s, you're 11 Bravos, it's 11. But as an 11, dude, not doing that job is almost sacrilegious. You know what I'm saying? Actually going and seeing combat, not getting the CIB, not getting the combat action ribbon. That's what it is for the Marines. Not getting that is sacrilegious, bro. It feels that way to us. So I feel you on that. Like you had to do it, you know? So you volunteered to go with what unit did you go with the second tour?
On the second tour, it was Alpha Company from the 167 Battalion out of Alabama, Infantry Battalion. And we were attached to the 48th Brigade out of Georgia. And then from there, they were attached to the 3rd ID. So it's like,
Jesus Christ.
Like, it's like paper clipping us units together. And it's like, all right, here's a bundle. Send them.
Oh my God. No wonder the Army is so slow to move anything, bro. God dang, dude.
Oh, so
I can imagine them orders. Like the opening header is like a whole paragraph of unit to unit to unit to unit to regiment to this. God dang, dude. That's funny. Okay. So what is the mission and where are you guys going?
So in the Guard, like information is sketchy. And like you're basically like a pretty good mobile piece, you know, that can be moved around a lot. And like they we didn't find out exactly where we were going, honestly, until we were, I think, in country. Like I was a kid again. I was like 21 by now, 22. But still I wasn't focused and I didn't remember stuff. I was just there to do my job. And like I didn't care about the details. It's like, you move me, feed me, give me gun, me no care about details or paperwork.
Right.
And so some of these details I get lost in the wash, but we end up going to Uncivilized. And we spend a few weeks in Kuwait. I want to say we flew up to Baghdad, spent a few weeks there. Our train up was 6 months at Fort Stewart, Georgia.
Okay.
And it was weak at best. It was weak. It was just check the block. It's like we were there for months, you know, ordering Chinese food takeout. People smoke.
My God.
You know, it's like that was the bomb diggity. You know, it's like get in from the field. Who wants walk and roll? I'm like, yeah. So,
oh my God.
we're like, the train up was pathetic, honestly. Like I could put together a better train up program by myself for an infantry company that would last not 6 months. And it was like 6 months of wasted time. So then we roll in from 6 months to a 12-month deployment. And so we go to Kuwait, Baghdad, and then I can't remember. I think we drove in to Uncivilized. First, I think we went to Mahmudia and then Uncivilized. But
Mahmudia.
we had no, you know, like you see the movie Black Hawk Down and they're like, we got a brief and we're telling everybody what to do and everybody knows the plan. And here's that. Nothing like that. You're laying on your cot and you're like, hey, we're
Okay.
going.
let me let me let me interject something right here. Only because okay. I never appreciated this, nor did I understand it when I was a private first class. When there was PFC Alex and he was getting an order, I did not understand. Do you know what a 5-paragraph order is?
Sergeant Major eats sugar cookies. That now I do, but I couldn't
Yeah.
read it off to you, but I learned it later on.
Okay. So the 5-paragraph order. One thing that every Marine Corps infantry guy it we pride ourselves in what's called small unit leadership. And I know the Army says that, but here's an example of it that I've seen the difference between already is that when we give an order, a regiment commander will brief the order all the way down the chain of command. But in your tiny chain of command in your squad, when your squad leader briefs the order, he says hires orders. And so what that tells you is it tells you your orders, it tells you the orders above you, and then even the overall higher missions order. So third squad is going to clear this village, but it's in support of the regimental blocking position for this giant thing that no PFC ever understands, and he just copies it blank-minded because he doesn't even understand what the F it means. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But now, as an older person, I'm like, oh my God. And I've heard so many stories like this, especially from early Iraq. And I'm not saying that your National Guard unit or 3rd or 2nd ID did this on purpose, but like, it could have just been, it was so chaotic then that you were the lowest guy on the totem pole. They're just like, yo, be here at this time. It could be that simple, right? You know what I mean? But like, I never experienced that, man. Like every time I ever got orders in the Marine Corps, dude, it was always like, I knew what hires meant. It would sounded like Egyptian to me. I didn't know what they were talking about, but I got it, you know? And that's crazy, man. Like, that's wild, bro. You're just fighting a war so blind as a 19, 20-year-old. That's insane.
Oh, yeah. It was blind. But, like, basically, we were a wild card they threw into this area because, like, Uncivilized was in the Triangle of Death. And in 2005, like, you can look this up, or if anybody watching, look it up. Like, it was one of the deadliest places on Earth. And we were told it was the gateway to Fallujah. And so
when did you learn that?
It's at some point in time over there, but within 3 days.
Okay, so yeah, you're already in country, and they're like, okay, this is where we're going.
Yeah, and
okay,
they might have told us the name, but we didn't learn about it. Me personally, in my memory, this was 20 years ago. Like,
it was a long time ago.
Don't remember right when we found out, but like we went into a hot zone, and we were not warned. Yeah. Like, we went in just like, we're from Alabama. We're going in here, you know. The Alabama. I didn't like that being called Alabama boys. I never liked any of that. But like, we get there, and it's like nobody told us we were going into like a hot zone. Like, this place was a hot zone. And so within the first 3 days, squad leader Humvee gets hit by an ID. The driver's eye gets messed up. His arm gets jacked up. The door gets slammed in on him. Like, you have to pry him out of a Humvee. We're freaking out. It's like, is Todd bleeding out? You know, he's stuck in here. We get him out. They get medevaced out. We don't see them again for 6 months. That was the first 3 days. And like, when we first got there, the tankers, they would just like button up and they get in their vehicle and fly to the next area because we were inside a little city. We lived in a potato factory. And then the first few days, we were at a schoolhouse in the middle of the city, surrounded by a little wall. Like, we were in it. Like, you weren't like at some fire base or anything. It was like you're in a little town and you got a brick wall protecting you. That's it. Wow. And like the first 2-3 nights, we were at the schoolhouse, and we were replacing these tankers, and they were ready to get the F out of there. Because they had lost some dudes, and tankers are not built for that, you know, not to be mean, but like, they didn't have these wide open spaces. They had tanks in this little town.
No, that's right.
So, the Op 4, I call them the Op 4, they had later on, like they were taking it, they were able to plant IEDs to take out tanks and like disable them.
Yeah.
And so, not like blow them up like an Humvee, but so one of the first nights, a couple of nights there, we're at the schoolhouse, and the when you're the new guys coming in, they'll take advantage of you. You know, it's like, oh, pull guard duty, we'll help you. You know, it's like, and then they're like, we're out of here. Y'all got it. No, like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what we got. It's like those guys want it out. And so one of the first nights I was like, they're like, you're going to pull guard duty out here on the street in this sandbag bunker. And I was like, okay. So I go out there in the street in this town, Uncivilized, like separated from the main little schoolhouse that's like has a brick wall around it where everybody else is, like 4 or 5 other guys. And I'm out there for 18 hours straight. My first guard duty in a legit combat zone. And like, I'm sitting there and it gets dark. It's like 2 a.m, silent. And I did not get sleepy at all. I was 100% alert because I was just like, I already had a feel for the first tour, but this one I could feel was different. And there would be like random AK fire in the night. And I'm just like by myself, no backup. So I'm sitting there just being silent, listening, you know, because it's like, it's dark.
Did you have a radio?
No. This is the guard, bro. What? We wing it.
Oh my God.
No.
You're telling me. Okay, look, I get hard pointing a house. We've done it. I've done it. Oh my God. This is the problem. I have people who tell me they have crazy stories in Iraq. But the problem is Iraq was so long ago that a lot of guys, the memory, the details, right? You know what I'm saying? Like this is what I'm talking about. This is insane, bro. So you're telling me that you hard pointed a compound, okay, or a house or whatever. You said it was a potato factory or whatever. And the guards have no radios.
Yeah, like it's like we were in like transition. Like I didn't know what the heck was going on. And so like the main compound was a potato factory. Then we were at this little schoolhouse, a couple of us. And then I'm out, it's like 2 a.m. and it's silent. I didn't have a radio. I think at one point in time, somebody brought me some food, which was cool. But other than that, nobody checked on me for 18 hours. And I'm sitting there just listening because it's dark in a war zone. There's been gunfire that night. And this is my first couple of days back in country. And I'm like, this is war. And I'm just listening, totally alert. And I hear footsteps behind me. And legitimate, like something's walking up on me. And I really was like, if I'm going to go out, I'm going to try. So I slowly moved my hand up to my pistol and I unholstered it. It was one of those, I think I had a Black Hawk pistol holster or whatever. And so I whip around really quick with my pistol and it was a freaking cat walking in like to this little bunker I was in. I was like, of all the things, like legit, like this cat creeping up. And I was so relieved. I was like, hey, kitty cat. Like,
but the fact that you heard the cat is wild.
Well,
cats are quiet, dude.
My senses were absolutely 100% dialed in because it's like, this is death zone. I'm out here by myself.
Yeah.
There's not another set of eyes. It's like, it's all on me right now and me watch out for me. But yeah, I was like, freaking cat.
That's wild. Okay. So this thing it's going to get kicked off. So where is Fallujah in reference to where this is? Because I know you said you were in this town but how far is that? Just because I don't know Iraq, I'd had to look at a map.
And that's what I'm about to do.
Oh, okay.
Because let me tell you,
you said it was in the triangle of what?
The triangle of death,
right?
Uncivilized, yeah.
What did that triangle consist of? Do you remember? Out of curiosity.
Uncivilized, Lutetia, and Mahmudia.
Okay, got it.
And
got it. Okay, so
it, dude, it was the Wild West basically. Um,
Yeah.
because once they kicked off and they started engaging us, it was engaging us nearly every day. Small arms fire.
Now,
Orders.
how long did that take for them to really start kicking it up out there? Because so normally, and I meant to say this earlier, normally if you have a in war, so I'm sure you might have seen this on your third deployment. Normally, when you go into a zone, you have what's called a left seat, right seat, right? The old unit rides on one side, you ride on the other, total handover. You do a couple patrols with each other. Usually you don't go nowhere dangerous, right? You don't want to take the new guys somewhere dangerous, and you don't want to get shot on your last damn 3 weeks in country. So yeah, that's normally how it works. So you're saying these dudes were just like, hey, new guys, you're here, we're out.
I
It's
think
you got it.
so. You know how like you're talking about how your awareness and concepts of bigger pictures expand as you get older,
Oh
and
yeah,
then like
yeah,
I didn't understand that my squad leader was going on right seat ride, the lieutenant was going on right seat ride. They were getting kind of handed off, and they were just having us
right,
plug in immediately. And so, but I
yeah,
personally was
yeah.
never on a right seat ride. But 13 Fallujah was 13 miles away from Yusufia, and in
Oh, it's right
Jocko
there.
Wielink's book Extreme Ownership, they were in Fallujah near that point in
That's
time,
right.
and the elements they were fighting, that we engaged with some of those elements as well because of the way they described what they were wearing. I was like, when I read that book, I called my old squad leaders like, dude, they were fighting the same elements we were fighting. Like these guys were
Yeah,
coordinated. Um, but when we did our right seat rides, like 6 months later with the 101st that came in, um, we were salty dogs by then. Like we're all like
yeah,
shell shock, 1,000 yard stare. Like this is the fucking shit you're in, bro. And we didn't play. Like we never cleared
yeah.
our weapons. We slept with our weapons hot. One day, um, we came out of our potato factory like we were getting shot at from the rooftops because there was a complex attack on our compound, and like we took IEDs sometimes multiple times a day, medvacs. We'd be coming back into the potato factory and there'd be like um, body bags out there, like just it was nonstop, like stress city. But like the mind was like taking all these memories and just shoving them away and just keeping the person aware. Then it's like, we're not going to focus on this. Like the human mind is amazing. So it's like all
Mm-hmm.
these extreme things happening day after day after day. And it's just shoving these memories away, not filing them away, just getting them out of the way, because you need your
Yeah,
mind clear. Like you can't be out there thinking about other stuff. You can't be distracted because like this was a very, very dangerous place. Extremely dangerous.
man. Yeah, I mean that's that mission. That's why, in the military, they were always like the mission. The mission's all that matters. Like the mission, then your equipment, then you. You know what I'm saying? Like you never come first, right? The mission is always first. So when someone dies, it's next man up. Someone gets injured, it's next man up. Like who's the next dude? No, your job, two jobs above you and one job below you. And yeah, so I mean and that's how it is. So that's the connection I was trying to make. That's what you exactly what you said with Jocko's book. I love it. I have all of his on my library over there. I've read them all. I'm an avid reader. So but that's the connection I wanted to make, is that you were so close that because my AI put that together. It was like, hey, he was fighting this, and I was like, okay, but I didn't want to trust it. That's why I wanted to ask you how far away it was. So yeah, y'all are getting all that. So what? I mean, when you say you guys were engaged, I get IEDs, so we know IEDs were a threat. I mean, are you guys getting in like prolonged engagements or with these ambushes, or was it a mix of kind of everything? Some days it might be some pop shots, some days it's a 2-hour firefight, kind of thing.
Well, it's interesting you asked that because like 98% of it was like pop shots, mortar rounds, and IEDs. And the roads were like
Mm,
Swiss cheese, like Route Sportster.
yeah.
It's like hot tub size holes. Um,
Wow.
the IEDs, like, one's going to go off every day. And there was only one
Right.
gun truck that didn't get hit the whole time. Um, but we find, and not, I don't say finally as in like, we're waiting for it, but we got in a battle one day finally. And it was a
Mm-hmm.
complex attack. Um, they had body armor, they had like RPKs, they were dropping mortar rounds, they had brought in V beds. So this was a very complex attack. And that day I decided to go exercise. So there's this little bitty makeshift gym, and I went over to it the other side of the potato factory building, and I was exercising, and I start hearing popcorn, and like it picks up in intensity, and then I realized those are gunshots. And there was we were on this compound with the Iraqi army, and those dudes could not be trusted at all.
Mm,
I just hate to say, like, it's the truth. Like, in my spiritual life now, I see everybody as equal, but those guys were cowards. Like, your
yeah.
soul can be plugged into a body that operates cowardly. And these people were cowardly. But so the rounds started picking up and they were hitting around. And I was like, I don't have my body armor. I'm over here working out. So I go sit in the corner and pick up a 45-pound plate and I squat down. And then these Iraqi dudes start trying to huddle in beside me. I was like, this is for
Oh
me,
my.
bro. And then I was like, what do I do? So I throw that down and there was some diamond metal, how like diamond steel plates are like bigger and it looks like the diamonds on it or whatever. And it was on the floor and I
Mm-hmm.
pick it up and I get underneath it. I'm like, just for some cover for a second. But I was waiting, like these dudes were cowards, but I was waiting for a lull so I could run back to my little um, bunk area and get my gear on. As soon as there was a lull, I go fucking running or outside to go back in
Yeah.
where the gunfire was. And there was a couple of guys standing in this big bay area. They're like, oh. And I came in laughing and I was like, yeah. And I like run. And I was like, why aren't these guys getting ready? So I run and get my crap on as fast as possible. Um, some other guys got sent to go and they were engaging with the rooftops while we were getting our gun trucks unlocked because we had to lock everything because the Iraqi army. Like, so the turrets were locked, the doors
Wow.
were locked. So you have to like unlock the door, climb in there, unlock the turret, like unlock the other stuff. And so everybody's trying to get in. You had to bring your 240 and ammo and everything and load it up. And like, but we were on it though. Like, honestly, I'm just going to say, like, we
Yeah.
kicked ass that day. Like, within minutes, we were loaded up and we were sitting kind of out front of the potato factory, like ready to go out the front gate. And I'm telling Sergeant Lindsay, I was like, we got to go because they're dropping mortar rounds on us, like, as we're sitting there.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, we're going to get hit.
Oh.
Like, the firefight's going on, we're getting mortared, but we're going out of the compound to go flank them. And so to go take the
Right.
fight to them because we're not going to sit there and just get engaged. Like, we were like,
Oh yeah.
they kicked over an ant bed that day and they regretted it 100%. And so, Lindsay's like, we're waiting on the lieutenant. Like, he was trying to get a rundown of what's going on and what he was going to go do. So he comes running up and we jump in, but we're trying to get out first to go engage and like, we want to be out before the tankers, but there goes a tank. Like, they were like, and we're like, dang it. They beat us out the gate because we wanted to go. We're getting attacked. And it's like, you don't effing do that. We were
Mm-hmm.
already pissed off because we had been jacked with so much while we were there with the IEDs, dudes getting taken out. Like, we lost a couple of dudes. I didn't know them personally. They were in like White Element, which was the tanker platoon. But it still happened. And other dudes were getting medevaced and we were PO'd because the
Man.
IEDs and the pot shots. And this was our time to get some payback. So the tanker gets out before us, and to the best of my memory, it served such a great purpose the second our lieutenant was a few seconds late, because we're taking off, and this RPG comes in like in front of our Humvee, of Lindsay's Humvee, and hits the wall. And if we had been a few seconds like earlier, that could have been us.
Could have been you, yeah.
So then one of the routes that we could have taken was a little bridge was taken out by a V-bed. There's another detail that I'm going to leave out because I could be wrong about it, but there was another V-bed, and these dudes, like, they're just like, boom, it's like taking out a bridge. So, and they had already hit one of our not a compound, we call it the JSB bridge. It was like this water factory that we also did Overwatch on. And one day this V-bed comes flying up in there, and Doc Barron gets on the 240, engages it, blows up before it gets to further into that little area. So these dudes were like on it. They were watching us. We had run down a dude one day who had a map of the entire area, and he had mapped out our routes on our patrols, and it was marked down. And this thing was like military grade little map. And like FAR had shot the dude. We ran him down. We had gotten intel on it, and we got him. And it really hit home that day that these dudes are analyzing everything we do. But we kept it random because we weren't active duty. We weren't locked into these certain ways of operations. We would be like, hey, what would work? Let's try this. Okay. There was no robot automaton, you must follow this blah, blah order and do it this way. Like, what increased our survivability was our randomness and our like ferocity, straight up. Not our uniform doing DNC whatsoever, or knowledge of like the 10 general orders or anything. It's just like, we're here to do some stuff. And so
you're so early that, like, the war was so long that by the time I went to Afghanistan in 2011, those lessons were already ingrained in our training. So if it gives you any hope going forward, if you ever wondered about this later on, is when I was coming up in infantry training, all the guys from Iraq, all the guys from early Afghanistan said the same thing. Don't do the same things over again. They're watching you. They'll have people on cell phones sitting outside the positions. And we seen it. We seen it firsthand. But those lessons you guys learned, and I always worried that the military forgets lessons between wars, but those lessons carried. And they were taught to us, man. So, like, I mean, you guys are out there fighting. I don't like to ask who you shot or if you shot anybody. I find that to be dumb. What's the one time or the best time you were like, yep, this is it. This is the end. I'm not going to make it out of this situation.
It was a few weeks later. And I just kind of gave you like half of that battle. And so a few weeks later, and I'm going to probably circle back to that maybe, but like a few weeks later, we get woken up like at 2 a.m. That's my favorite time to say when it's dark, 2 a.m. It sounds more dramatic. But like, we get woke up and the lieutenant's like, hey, there's a group of 50 armed men moving up to something checkpoint. And we need to get over there now and to go engage with them. And so we all jump up and we're just like, oh, like I was grabbing extra mags. I already carried a buttload of mags, and I carried like, at one time I was on a foot patrol and I had like almost 14 mags and like smoke grenades and like hand grenades, frags. And I was like, and so I was loaded down. And so this night we were headed out to go engage with possibly 50 dudes with weapons. And I'm loading up and we go jump on the Humvees and take off. Well, we were in such a rush. You know how you have your assigned gun trucks and then somebody goes on leave and you shift and you're just like, oh, I'm with this team. It's like, I don't want to be with so-and-so. They're lame, that stuff that goes on. But it was a conglomeration that ended up on each vehicle. We were in such a rush. So it was Wilkerson, TCing, Walthall in the driver's seat, and I was in the turret, and I had nods, and they had nods, and I think Walthall's nods weren't working, but it was a chalk of 4 Humvees, and we were second chalk, and 3 Humvees got out, and we got separated. Like, they were already flooring their way out there, and we were behind. So Walthall's has anger issues. Like, I don't know if I don't think he does anymore. That's 20 years later. But when he gets mad, like, he's like rage. And so he's mad at Wilkerson. Wilkerson's mad at him. And I'm just sitting in the turret, and Walthall starts flooring it. And we're in blackout drive at night. Like, we don't run with lights. And so he's driving nods, flying through Uncivilized, separated from the rest of our element, going to engage with these dudes with weapons. And I'm sitting there legit. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to die. This right here in this moment, I'm going to die flying through Uncivilized, and he's going to wreck, and we're going to be ambushed or something. And I really felt that was the time I was going to check out. If there was one, I was like, yep, this is it. And this sucks kind of.
Wow.
But so we linked up with the rest of them, of course, and whoever was running, and this was intel from like a drone. But the thing is, it would go to battalion level, to like company level, and then get to us. So it'd go through like 3 different elements before we'd get the intel to go act.
Right.
And we didn't have like this video screens or anything. It was all radio, like, like nowadays, like, and our Blue Force trackers didn't work that well half the time, and so like we're making sure like,
oh God,
like, we didn't know what was going on because we didn't have like the intel, so anyway,
right.
All that being said, like it was a herd of sheep.
Bro, the bad intel thing, truly was, it just happened. It happened to us. It was like, you're chasing ghosts, dude. I mean, seriously, like, that's how it was a lot of times. You're just chasing ghosts.
Yeah.
Like, but so do you feel like while you're there, like, because I felt it on our deployment. I felt our security bubble push out. I felt that when we got in certain engagements and we pushed to new areas, that we were actually completing the mission. So out here in Uncivilized, you said, I mean, you guys are fighting. And so the question is during this deployment, do you ever like feel like we're making a difference, or were you just like, we're fight to fight, bro, and it doesn't even matter? Like, I don't know. It's just a question. I never really thought about it in Afghanistan, but now that I look back, I'm like, yeah, we did make a big difference.
To me, it didn't matter. The big picture didn't matter. Yeah. America didn't matter. Like, nothing mattered except every day you're so plugged into that area. So I wasn't thinking about we're making a difference in the war. It was like survive and engage and be first. And it was so plugged into there was no bigger picture. There was no like, we're making a difference in the war. We're pushing the line back. There was no like in the old war movies, the general walks up and is like, boys, in this war effort, y'all have been doing really good, and y'all have pushed the enemy back, and we have gained foothold, but we got more orders. It was like,
well, that's the thing about Iraq that I have learned through doing these podcasts. And so the guys who haven't really figured this out yet, let me put it in plain English. There were no lines in Iraq. It was survival where you were at. Every day you were fighting these guys, and they just auto-populated like computer freaking pawns. Like in Afghanistan, the only reason I say that I felt like we made a difference is when we got there, our security bubble was nothing. They were shooting at our resupply helicopters, but by the time we left, we had to go look for a fight. We had pushed the enemy so far out. It was like 20 clicks, man. Like, we had expanded the security bubble. And now that took some fighting, and it took a lot of guys being in engagements a lot. But at the end of the day, like if you went through the area, you felt that. But like, so I'm assuming like you, Sophia, was just like, bro, we're just trying to survive every time we step foot out of the wire, you know?
Yeah. Um, there was no security bubble because, like,
Mm,
you had mentioned earlier about talking about right seat rides and all that, and like handing off everything and showing the area and the like the not terrain, but like what's going on in that area or AO. And so we start doing the 101st comes in, and they are
yeah.
automatons. They are like robots must do everything exactly right. I cannot have a
Uh,
brain. And they're starting to like ride with us. And there was this dude that some of the guys knew. He had went active duty, and he came in, Travis Nelson. I want to say his name's Travis Nelson. And he was riding in our Humvee. And so we started taking him around. Like, all right, we're going to go out to JSB Bridge. And these were like little bitty spots, like in a house you're staying in, or like an old schoolhouse that are tiny. You're out there for 3 days, hot, eating MREs, and, it's like this
yeah.
in the suck. But like as a grunt, that's what you wanted. That's what I wanted. I got that experience. And so we're taking them out there, showing them the ropes. And this is after 6 months, and we're all just like, we know how to survive. Like, this is what you do, like, and we're driving along one night in blackout, and he drops the window and he starts smoking. And I look at, I think his name was Ward driving. And I looked at Ward, and Ward looks at me, and I was like, hey, Sergeant, when we get hit with an IED, like shrapnel's going to come in through that window. And you hear, shunk. And, but the thing is, like, so a few days later, I was mounted, but I volunteered with the foot patrols because that stuff was fun. And I stayed busy as I could. And so we go out and on a foot patrol with some of their leadership, come back in. But then Farr and Johnson died a few years ago, sadly, of like colon cancer or something. But I would like to, in memory of Craig Johnson, he was a Marine, and that dude was hell on wheels. And like, he was a shitty drunk and scary when he was drunk, but that dude was a fighter and he was a warrior. So if anybody out there watching us, Craig Johnson, in memory of him, he did not get along personally, but a soldier or a Marine, like he was one for sure. Hell on wheels. And
man,
so he takes a foot patrol with the 101st to show them around the immediate vicinity. And Lieutenant Edwards was like, hey, listen, if anything's hinky, call it. He's like, okay, cool. So they start walking out, and they get outside the front gate, which is like a 113. There's no gate. It's just a 113 was sitting there, and it was disabled. So they're walking out, and they're walking down the streets now, just maybe 20 yards out, and you hear saws open up. You hear like belts getting dropped in, bolts getting racked back, like loading rounds. And Johnson's like, y'all aren't red? They're like, no, we're supposed to say amber and go red. And Johnson's like, turning around, or Farr was like, turn around. And they walk back in. He's like, nope, not taking y'all out. Like, y'all don't realize how serious this is. So we were they were coming in, like, so like we lived in a big old bay on our cots, and they were everywhere. And the 101st are moving in, so we get crammed to one side, and they're in there, and we're talking to these privates and specialists, and they're like, man, what's going on? And like, we're trying to give them the rundown. And this dude's like, we're red, like we're amber, talking about weapons. And I pull my pistol out and I show him, like, I was like, we're always red. We don't have clearing barrels. Like, what's a clearing barrel? Like, we never did that. It was pointless to clear your weapons. You slept with your weapons hot. And they're like,
right.
They have to ask permission for this. Like, these guys were scared to make any decision on their own. So we start getting word when we leave. We fly out on we fly out on two Chinooks, and I have like um, two duffel bags, my large Alice ruck, my 240, my M4, and my 9mm. And somehow I end up being the very last one to load up on the Chinooks. And so I'm wearing all this gear, and while the sky lights up like better than daylight,
Wow.
like, and I've never experienced anything in my life or heard anything like that or seen it. It was silent and everything lit up, then went dark again. And we're all just like, what the heck was that? Like, and then, so that was like a phenomenon that I could not explain. And back in 2003, we were looking at the sky one night, and strange things would happen at war. And like looking way up in the skyline, way up in the sky at night, there's this huge long beam of light that all of a sudden just spreads out from one little dot and sits there in the sky. And then a second one, from a little dot, a beam of light spreads out, and it's just this line of light way up in the sky. When we get off here in the next few days, I'm going to send you a YouTube video of Marines that filmed this through nods, and I actually saw this. So we're looking at that, like we saw these lights appear way up in the sky that is way up there, but this line of light that doesn't move, and we're looking at it, and one of them disappears, and then on the other side of the sky, like way the F over there, one appears immediately. Then this one over here disappears, and then one over there appears. And as they disappear from one side of the sky, like freaking way away, they reappear. And we're sitting there just like, what the heck? It's like, I don't know if this is a UFO or like super secret, like tech or something. Like
classified. Yeah.
Literally cannot explain it. And then one day up at Division Main, the intel guys were like hustle and bustle because an Abrams tank got taken out. And this dude I never signed an NDA on this. So like, he showed me these pictures that on this Abrams tank, there was a hole the size of a pencil that went all the way through all the armor on the tank and took out a strategic spot in the engine to disable the Abrams. And it was this tiny little pinhole that went through the entire tank, and they were freaking out about it because there was some tech on the battlefield out there somebody was testing that just took out an Abrams. And they showed me the pictures, and it's literally something penetrated this entire tank. No explosions or anything, just a little pencil hole that went through everything. And it was like a foot or two away from the driver's feet. And like little nuggets like that stick with you. You're like, that's cool. Like, what the heck is that? I'll never get an explanation, but nowhere else in life can I experience these like phenomenons that just are outside the realm of your normal reality.
Yeah. Tell me about the first one again, because I think when that recording cut off, I don't know if I got it cleanly. So what was the first thing that happened that you were talking about?
So we're flying out of Uncivilized, and we're all standing out in the dark, and Johnson, Hammond, and I volunteered to stay because we loved it. Like, we fell in love with Uncivilized. They wouldn't let us stay, but sadly, that is what it is. So we're standing out there ready to go. It's nighttime, and the Chinooks aren't there yet, and we're sitting there, and then all of a sudden, the light across the sky is like 1/3 of the sky just lights up white, brighter than daylight for about 2 seconds, maybe 2.5 seconds, and then it goes dark again as fast as it got light.
Wow.
But it's streaked across.
That's wild.
But literally, imagine if the sky was a dome and then a huge whole part of it just lit up for like a second and a half or two and then just went away. It was bigger than a meteor. Like, this thing took up 2/3 of the sky above me, and as we saw it.
Wow.
But it was so intense you didn't have words for it. It was so like supernatural almost, or phenomenon. Nobody said anything. Nobody talked about it ever again. We're just like, what was that? And that was it.
It was
There,
unexplainable.
yeah, it was
Yeah, it was
so
unexplainable.
unexplainable. There was no conversations about it at all.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. Now the tank thing, I ironically enough, I do wonder if there might be some of that could have been like Iran or Russia or like not maybe them specifically, but them paying a terrorist group sponsored, you know what I'm saying, state sponsored kind of thing where they were like testing out something against the U.S. military. Because if you think about it, you're a country like Russia, right, who has ties in the Middle East, and y'all are engaged in this combat. It's like, hey, slip this in there, try this on one of their things, and see if it works. You know, why not? I mean, it's a great idea,
Well,
but
it's the perfect time to try out new tech, and like
yeah,
it would be easy to, it's like, here is this much money, it's like they have their own groups that are like Blackwater, or they're mercenaries
mm-hmm,
that were special ops. And it's like, hey, listen, um, you never got sent here. You never did this. Go see if this works, perfect testing
exactly.
ground. And you could never track them down, but my assessment was like, this is like maybe some type of high powered laser weapon or some advanced beam weapon.
That's
Um,
yeah,
but it's like,
that's wild,
yeah, it was very wild. They were freaked out about it, and
man.
rightly so. Um, so we leave Yusufia and we go to this place called Scania, and it was a place for us to kind of cool off. And there was nothing going on
Yeah,
there. It was just like cool people, cool town, but we go in amped up, and they're like,
right,
y'all can't stay here because we just got pulled out of the combat zone, and we get put into like a little peaceful town. And we're like, when we go out on patrols, we're going out ready for contact. Like we would stop a vehicle, and I remember like running down the top of the Humvee, like punching this window and be like, get out of here. Like we were aggressive. So they put us at a radio
wow,
station, RP7, on Route Tampa. And it's like, it turned into Lord of the Flies because like, they're like, these guys
oh,
have to decompress. And like Chalk 2 stayed in the desert drunk for like 6 months, shooting guns into the
oh
desert.
my
Like we went and found
God,
like ancient sites with like ancient like freaking like buildings that the Nazis had come down there looking for and these people that were watching the place told us about it, that the Nazis had come there looking for black magic stuff or like occult items to help give them power.
right,
And when they left, they blew up these ancient structures. But we're walking along, and like there's pottery on the ground with like ancient writing on it. You're walking through this ancient time, and like for 6 months it was Lord of the Flies, like literally. And we had to
man.
decompress, but that wasn't enough because when we got home, like we were still wound tight. And
Oh, I
like
bet.
and it's like that doesn't mix. Like you've been changed inherently. You're a
Mm-mm.
different person that's like, now come back, you need to be calm again, and you need to fit into society, and you need to be just cool with this. It's like, no, we're not meant to now. And so I volunteered again because honestly, like I thought that I peaked in life, and I was like, cool, I'm ready to be moving on now, if that makes sense, for not to get into
Right.
detail. And I was like, I have peaked in life. I'm going to go on my third tour to bow out. And it won't be me doing it, it'll be the op 4. And that way it would be good because was I was wanting to like check out, if you
Yeah,
and
I
I'm being
got you.
careful with my words now. And I thought my
Yeah.
third tour would take care of that. But my third tour was just,
Right.
it was nothing like the second. We were in Kuwait running gun truck missions up north. And basically I worked in a talk for most of the time, like 12-hour shifts. I worked out, I got big. My wife cheated on me a bunch. Went home, divorced, no money. And like just then alcoholism kicked in. So after my third tour, like I became an alcoholic, popping pills. Like I was drinking whenever I could. And then I was talking to man, I wish I could remember his name, but he was the AGR dude, and I was like, I need orders, bro. Like I need orders because like I'm not gonna fit in. Like, and so he found me orders with 20th Group Special Forces. They were the National Guard Special Forces, and like they're like, hey, I got you orders. It starts at this place at Fort McClellan, SOT D, and I don't know what you'll be doing. I was like, cool. Turns out for the next almost 5 years, I was working at a shooting school for special forces, and like, literally, that was a perfect place to be because like I was a wild card in society. Like I came back, I was raised feral, then I went to combat, like 3 tours, and now it's like I fit in here, I was safe. And it's like it's almost like a divine intervention of like, we need to watch this guy, but he needs to be in an environment where like we're around guns all the time, shooting all the time, blowing stuff up, doing tactics, like learning stuff. I was a support guy, but I had it at like an inside window, and I was like every day just like, oh, because as a private, you see somebody or a corporal, you see these dudes that you've only heard stories of, and you're working for them and around them, and it's just like titans. These guys are titans.
Yeah.
I have a lot of stories from that period of time too.
You've got a little hero worship. You're around people who, and you know what it is. I've talked about this multiple times. In World War II, intense combat, right? Think about it, the Pacific. But how long did it take to get back to the United States? You know what I'm saying? You get put on a ship, you're with your boys, you're all decompressing together. Maybe you finally, after like a week or two, you start talking about it. You guys talk about what you went through. I don't know if they ever did, but I'm just saying they had the opportunity. But we get put on flights, and 48 hours later, we're back in the United States, and you're at Burger King, whereas like 4 days ago, you were getting shot at in Iraq. And that's a wild time, right?
In Yusufia, I got to go home for 2 weeks on leave. And so I go from a hot combat zone to civilian life at Christmas time. And it's like, you're literally in shock. And they have no idea what has been through. Like, they just have their civilian lives. And so it's like there's no words for it. Like you said, it's like you go from one time, like life or death, a few days later, it's like tinsel and Christmas time. It's like, what the? But it wasn't Christmas time then for me. It was like, I think like August, I got to go back. But then
it doesn't matter.
I got to be
principle.
It's like, you can't get out of that mindset. So I was at home in that mindset.
Yeah.
And then I have to go back. And it's like, but that's the thing. Like, also about the Guard, it's like you take people and then you're just gonna throw them back into civilian life. It's like, we just fulfilled our duties as soldier. Now you want us to get back in to do the soft work. It's like, we no fit no more.
I mean, that's like, so when I got back from Afghanistan, I immediately changed my job. So when I got back, I had orders, and within 30 days, maybe a little more, maybe a couple months, I was in the wing, dude. I was surrounded by people who had no idea what I just went through. They were Marines, but they didn't get it. And so, like, I think one of the good things that you said about the shooting school is you're there with tier 1 dudes, but those tier 1 dudes at least had the experience to understand, like, at least they could relate. Maybe not all of them. I don't know if you ever talked about any of that kind of stuff, but you know what I'm saying? You're kind of in a good area.
It gave me perspective. I stopped wearing my CIB around them.
Wow.
I stopped wearing my combat patch around them because I started hearing their stories. Like, these dudes were rotating in and out, in and out. These dudes were losing legs. These dudes were like the alpha predators. And when I was around them,
Man.
like I got a whole new perspective of like I'm nothing. Like I ain't hot shit. Like
Yeah.
I didn't do
I mean,
anything. I was like, sorry
I,
guys, like I'm here to learn now.
yeah. But the crazy thing is it's hard to compare because I get it. I know what you're talking about because I do that sometimes with the podcast. Like guys are like, "Oh yeah, I didn't see much," and then they tell their story, and I'm like, "Oh my god, dude, I haven't even been to combat compared to you know what I'm saying?" Like, and so like yeah, but like at the end of the day, we can all say that when you put yourself in that position and you and you're fighting for your life, it doesn't matter whether it only lasted 20 minutes or you did it for weeks on end. That feeling is relatable, at any point because it's just if but again, that comes back to the whole pogue thing. Like when I went to the wing, I still wore my combat action ribbon, but I got asked by multiple dudes in the wing. They're like, "Oh, were you on like a base that got attacked?" And I was like, "No, bro, I lived that shit for 7 months," And so like that was the thing is, but we always compare ourselves to other people. And I find that so funny that you were like, yeah, no, I'm nothing compared to these homeboys. Like, these are the real G.I. Joes, dude.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you do that. And then do you change your job? You said you swapped to a 68W. What is that?
oh, 68 whiskey. That was combat medic. So,
Okay. So how much longer did you stay in the military?
I was medically discharged in August 2016. And so
Yeah.
I stayed in a few more, like my last tour was ended in 2008. And so I was in, I guess,
Okay.
almost 8 more years. But I rode
Okay. What was
borders
your
as much as possible.
Yeah. What was your decision to go 68 whiskey? You Sophia, the way you describe it. I mean, I get it. I think the listeners get it. It's like, why would you put yourself back through that? Because you know where a combat medic's going. You're not naive. I mean, like what was the reasoning behind that shift?
I never deployed as a combat medic, like in the
Okay. Yeah.
combat
Yeah.
zone, but my shift was like I had been there, and then it's like, while my job was to close with and destroy the enemy. But
Right.
then I went to the opposite direction. It's like, I want to be able to save people. Like, I want to know that knowledge.
Wow.
And so I transferred to 20th Group. They deployed, transferred in. And so I stayed in, and they expanded to a battalion. And so the sergeant major's like, hey, here's all the jobs for you that you can go into. Like, here's the ones that's going to get you rank. And I'm looking through in 68 whiskey. I was like, that. He's like, well, that's an E5 position. You're not going to get ranked there. And I was like, that. He's like, well, you can go over here, trucker. You'll pick up 7 and just cut. I was like, see that. And finally, he stopped arguing with me.
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't want rank. I want knowledge. Because, like, my heart,
Right.
when I became a combat medic, dude, like, stateside, I had the opportunity to operate as one. And, like, one of our instructors said, when you become a combat medic, things are going to start happening around you that require you. And they did. And my heart was fulfilled in that role. I loved it because the first time I got
Okay.
called Doc, man, like I was on cloud
Oh,
nine.
I bet that felt good.
And yeah, from being a grunt to be called Doc, I was like, these guys trust me, like
That's cool.
literally. And I got to help people, like I got help with a
Yeah.
gunshot wound, bobos, boo-boos, sickness, like guys like having like blood sugar crashing, just like all kinds of different things. But I was like serving, and I loved it. It
Yeah.
felt great. Like,
Man.
and there was nothing else that I wanted to do. Like, I was good with that.
Yeah.
So,
But you knew, I mean, you knew, did you want to deploy as a combat medic and just never got the opportunity, or were you just cool with just, sticking it out?
I think in 2009, when I was working at that shooting school, 2010, I was deep into alcoholism, really dealing with PTSD. Like, I blacked out once or twice and trashed the barracks once. Like, literally something woke up inside of me, like I switched. And so I volunteered to go to Afghanistan, and they shut me down. Like, it was no more deployments for Paul. Like, my battalion was like, they wouldn't let me deploy anymore. I was grounded because I was so deep in alcoholism. I've already done a bunch of tours, and like I was teetering, and I was just hanging on. Like, going every day, being around other soldiers, shooting and stuff like that kept me grounded. And so but later on, I got to go to Jordan for a couple of weeks. That was cool as a combat medic. I got to teach court classes and stuff, and operate in that capacity. And so that was pretty cool. But I would have deployed as one.
I think that's a cool thing that your unit seen that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there are so many horror stories in the military of guys the command not noticing the signs, right? Not seeing this guy is teetering on the edge. We need to pull him because there's so much, you know what I'm saying? There's so much tied up here. There's a whole can of worms. We could go into mental health, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it on the second one. But,
cool.
There's so much there. And for the unit to be like, no, Paul, you're done. Like, we're not deploying you anymore. Like, that's cool. It probably to you at that time may have felt like a betrayal, but I'm sure now looking back, you're like, okay, they were probably right. Like, they were making the right calls.
Yeah. Like, that it was the right call because I was in no position to deploy again, but I wanted to, but I didn't like, they made the right call on that one.
Yeah, that's actually good on the Army, man. I'm proud to say that they made the right call for once. That's just not a common thing, man. Like, so that's cool.
Well, there's a pretty good personal aspect in the Guard because, like, you can spend years with guys, whereas in the Army, it's like, oh, we're gonna switch you out now. But like in the Guard, it's like you get to know dudes for a long time, and so, like. I knew some guys on personal level, so they were kind of dialed in with where I was at, so they're like,
right. No, that's cool. I hate that I keep getting the Guard and the Army mixed up. I keep using them interchangeably, and I know that's probably not right. Okay. The Guard is different.
No worries.
But okay, so for the listeners, we're gonna do a second episode. We're gonna get into some mental health. I'm sure we're gonna tell some more stories about Iraq. I still feel like there was more on that last deployment, more about you coming back and some of the stuff you dealt with. I'd like to hear more stories about the shooting center. That sounds like, I'm sure there's some cool stuff that'll come out of that. And then we really got to get to, the other half of the outline we never made it to. So look forward to that. It may not be the next episode for the listeners, but it's going to be one coming soon. Paul, thanks for coming on, and I'll see you again. You got any final words for the listeners on this episode?
Hey, it was my honor to be on here, and I appreciate it. And I think it's great what you're doing, sharing the stories of the guys that did the grunt work.
Yeah, man. Yeah, thanks, dude. Like, I mean, there's 20 years of war, man. There's so many of these, and like, you're the kind of guy that is just like, yeah, I worked at Starbucks and slayed bodies at the same time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all right, I appreciate it, and I'll see the listeners next week. Thanks, y'all.
Cool beans.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad. I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad. Doing no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad. Yeah. Baby, I'm bad.
I just wanna stay bad, stay mad. Shit on my shoulder, cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back. I'll be swinging hard till the hits come in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me. Ain't nobody like that. I ain't gonna wait, that's all fact. Give me one shot and I'll never get the throne back. I'm sick of being cautious. I'ma go cause something, can't stop this. I'ma steal everybody's lane, call it shoplift. Sick of hearing everyone complain when they thoughtless. Taste the pain, it's like candy canes. It makes me go change into a better frame, into a better name. Society's insane, we all live for fame, yeah. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad. I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up. Live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad.